Hey guys, welcome back. It's Dan here with TreeBeards Book Reviews, and today we're going to be looking at my top 10 books of 2021. So I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed making this list, so let's get into it. Just want to say welcome back, guys, and welcome to any new viewers. It's just a brief synopsis of my channel. So what I do in my channel here is I look at sci-fi fantasy books that I've read throughout the year. Going to be doing reviews, also some other fun stuff with like tier lists and stuff like that. So if you like the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to hear from you guys. I do have a Discord channel. And I do take a lot of your suggestions on the Discord, so please hit me up on there. There's a lot of good people in there. So the best thing is, let's kind of get into this list. So this is actually the second time I've had to film this list, so I need to preface this really that there's going to be no rereads on this list. So just because, it would really skew the list, because I like those books obviously already because I'm rereading them. So there's going to be no Wheel of Time books on here just because they're ranked so highly, and you guys can see my tier ranking list of the Wheel of Time. So I'm gonna have an honorable mention. So my number 11 just missed the top 10, and that was Valor by John Gwynne. So this is the second book in the Faithful and the Fallen. It was a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Spartacus moments with Machian when he's fighting in the pits, and it was just a really good book. Probably my favorite of the full Faithful and the Fallen series. I've read the whole series now. Just finished it this year. I will have a review coming up for Wrath in the month of January, most likely. Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed the series, but Valor was probably my favorite. I know a lot of people like Ruin the most, and I think for Ruin, for me, it just had a few little negatives that just put it in a little bit lower ranking for me. So, number 11 honorable mention was Valor by John Gwynne. Okay, so carrying on with the list. This one just snuck in here. This one, I just finished it not too long ago. There's already a review out on the channel because I really wanted to get it out early. Blasted this book, and that is The Blood of Elves by Andrew Sapkowski. I think that's how you say his name, Andrew Sapkowski. Really enjoyed this book. It's as you guys saw me, it's not a very plot-driven book. There's really not a lot of plot going on in the book, but it's a very good character-driven book. I love. I'm more of a character reader. You guys probably know that, as I've discussed before. So yeah, really enjoyed this book. It was super fun. Enjoyed Geralt and Yennefer and Ciri and Triss. Just a really fun book. I just couldn't put it down. I read it in I think 3 days or 4, maybe 3 days. So yeah, super good. Just hit the top 10, and it just pushed Valor out to number 11. So yeah, let's get into number 9. Number 9 is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. So this is the first book in the Expanse series. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a different sci-fi book. I really love the feeling this book gave me, the claustrophobia, you feel like you're in space, you feel like you're in a ship, and just the deadliness of space. And I really enjoyed the character work. Again, like I said, I'm more of a character reader. Really liked Holden and Miller. It's just a fun book, really fun. I am reading Caliban's War right now at the time of recording this. So again, really enjoyed this book, Leviathan Wakes. Check out my review on the channel. Just a really good sci-fi romp, and you're seeing the foundation laid for this big series. So that's my number 9. So let's get into number 8. This is going to be the first Pratchett on the list. There's going to be more, and that's mainly because I read a lot of Pratchett this year. This is a really heavy Pratchett year. So the first book, that's number 7, first Terry Pratchett, is The Lords and Ladies. Gosh, this was such a fun book. This is probably one of the funniest Discworld books I've read. And I've actually read this one. I read it 3 times last year in 2021. And okay, let me explain what happened. So I had a bunch of Audible credits that I needed to spend, and I wasn't I couldn't really decide on anything. So I'm like, oh, I'll just get a Pratchett one, and I picked up The Lords and Ladies. Listened to it, loved it, thought this book was hilarious, and I enjoyed it so much. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and read it now. So I read it, and still, it just got busting funny. And then I got into listening to The Faithful and the Fallen. So I was spending my new credits on that. And then I was in between credits at a certain point. I think it was between like Ruin and Wrath. I needed something to listen to, and I was walking my dog. I'm like, oh, I remember Lords and Lady was so fun. And again, third time, just gut busting funny. So it's not often I read a book 3 times in 1 year. There is a review gonna be. I have recorded a review for Lords and Ladies. Holy, what a fun book! Just so much fun. I laughed the whole time. So yeah, Lords and Ladies #7, just great book. So, oh, no, sorry, Lords and Ladies is #8. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, guys. So let's get into #7 now. So this is another John Gwynne book. It's not a book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. It's actually The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. Stunning book. This was such a cool book. It was one of the first books I read this year. Really enjoyed it. Just loved the 3 POV characters. Well, I loved 2 of the 3 POV characters. The other one was like just good. So like Orca and Varg, really liked those POVs. Just love the world that John Gwynne was building in here with the I actually forget the name of the world, but it was Vigorith. That was the world. God, it's just good. It was really good. Just I love the concept of that. You know, it's this post Ragnarok, like several hundred years after a Ragnarok type event. And these characters have like powers and are descendants of the gods, and there's still this power struggle between the gods. Great book, great writing, great world building. One thing I would recommend, I did read this and listen to an audiobook too. I would skip the audio potentially, just because you know, if you wanted to look up some of these creatures, you're never gonna know how to spell them with the audio version. So, yeah, that's my #7 was Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. All right, moving along, guys. You know, the bottom half here. #6 is Guards by Terry Pratchett. Oh, great book. This is, you know, the first book in the Guard series, first introduction to Samuel Vimes and Carrot and Nobby, and like just the, you know, it sets the foundation for the Guards books. Just great. Just such a like fun book. I really loved like the Discworld. I've really gotten into Discworld this year. My channel's kind of just become a Discworld channel, which is fine. I love that. But yeah, really strong book. Like if I was to make a recommendation for anyone getting into the Discworld, start with Guards. It's so much fun. Such interesting characters. Like just some great character development going on. Really liked Guards. And that's why it's #6 on my top books of 2021. As you guys probably saw, there was a scrolling intro of all the books I read this year. It's probably not today. It's probably missing a few that I've read near in the end of December, but that's fine. You guys can check me out on Goodreads and stuff like that. My link to my Goodreads account is in my description here. So let's move on to the top 5 books I read in 2021. So #5 is, I got my special edition here, is The Lost World by Michael Crichton. So I have my Folio Society edition here. You see the beautiful raptor. I do have a full review of this book on my channel. This is the first time I read this book, The Lost World. I've read Jurassic Park several times, and I just, you know, never made the leap to to go and read The Lost World for some reason. And I loved it. I absolutely loved The Lost World, and I think I liked it more than Jurassic Park. I know, blasphemer, stop blasphemer. But it was just, it was really good. I just really enjoyed it. Maybe it's because I like the kids a lot better in this book. The kids weren't as annoying, you know, in Jurassic Park, but they're really annoying. And so the kids were like Arby, I think was one of the kids' names. And, you know, just having like Ian Malcolm as, you know, one of the main protagonists, very good. He wasn't like, you know, a side character like he was in Jurassic Park. I can't remember. I can't remember for the life of me the other scientist who's there. He's kind of like a snobby, stuck-up, like know-it-all, but he was good. He was knowledgeable, and he was just Levine. I think that's his name, Professor Levine. So yeah, I really enjoyed The Lost World. Really an unsung book by Michael Crichton. If you like Crichton, you know, pick it up. It's so much fun to read. You don't have to get the Folio Society, obviously. Like, they're always kind of flying around The Lost World. The Lost World's easy to find compared to Jurassic Park, but I loved it. I thought it was a great book. So, yeah, that's my #5, The Lost World by Michael Crichton. All right, moving on, guys. #4. I actually don't have the copy of the book with me. I've actually lent it out to my sister-in-law. Just because she watched my review of it, and she's like, oh, that sounds like an interesting book. Maybe I'll read it. I'm like, here you go. take it and read it. It's one of those books you can just read it anywhere. And so I'm using my omnibus here, and it is Feet of Clay. Oh, wow. That book, it blew me away. Like, just, I really, like I said, I really enjoyed Discworld this year, and really enjoyed what Terry's been doing with the Guards. And I really liked Men-at-Arms. Men-at-Arms was like a great sequel to Guards. I'm like, whoa, that was a super strong sequel. And it didn't make the top 10, but then I read Feet of Clay, and I was like, wow. The themes touched in this book, just the story that was like told, it was magnificent. It was just such a great book. Like, please check out my review for Feet of Clay. I really have all my thoughts. So, like, I probably will have, like, a list of all my reviews. Because most of these books have been reviewed on the channel. Maybe one hasn't. And we'll maybe get to that. But, yeah, just loved Feet of Clay. And this, like I said, this is going to be a Discworld heavy list. A, because I love the Discworld. And B, because I just read a lot of Discworld this year. So, I'm not going to apologize for it. Because this is my list, and I get to do what I want. So, sue me. So, carrying on. Top 3 now, guys. It's just probably no surprise that this book was going to be in the top 3. And I think any of these books in like from 1 to 3 could be interchangeable, but I had to put an order to them. So number 3 is The Hogfather. Oh man, you guys saw my review of The Hogfather, my discussion with Chaz and Derry. Just, this book blew me away, blew my socks off, got me in the Christmas mood, got me in the Christmas spirit. And it was just kind of what I needed as a Discworld to, like, wrap up the end of the year. And I really loved this book. Like, with the, where Death is actually a main character in one of his own books. Just the whole themes here of, innocence and how much, like, the powers of belief. And, that childlike innocence. And, how you can have power over things. It was so masterfully done, and there's so many amazing quotes in this book, and there's actually a lot of life lessons in this book. You can learn a lot from this book. And there's also a stunning BBC 2-part series, so if you like The Hogfather, you like Terry Pratchett, just watch it. It's on Prime. I loved it. It's actually really sad, too, because the actor who played Death, or did the voice for Death, he sadly passed away before it got released, so it's really touching. And it's a really insightful book, like, series when you watch it on BBC. So yeah, great guys. Hogfather, mwah, chef's kiss. So let's move on to top 2. All right, here we are, the top 2. And so my second favorite book of the year was Dune by Frank Herbert. This book just knocked it out of the park for me. I gave it a high rating. I can't remember. I think it was maybe a 4.8. Yeah, like a lot of these, like some of them might be ranked higher, might be ranked lower, but I don't think that really matters in the overall grand scheme of things. I kind of looked at this list and I approached the list like, okay, if I was to pick one of these to reread, which would it be, and in what order? And Dune just, even though Dune was technically a reread, and it's 16, 17-year reread where I read this in high school, now I'm reading it now. I'm not kind of counting that because I totally forgot everything from high school, and I clearly just didn't read that at the right time, and this book hit me at such a right time, and I really enjoyed it enough to, go and see the film twice when it came out. I watched the old I think it's 1984 Dune or something like that. Old, it wasn't that good. But the book, holy cow, blew me away. Like, it was like, this is a chunky book. This is a big book. I know it's 3 books in one, technically. But I think I read it in like 4 days. I just couldn't put it down. I was reading like 200 pages a day, which is a good pace for me because, like, I got kids and I have, like, school and work and, like, spending time with my wife. So, yeah, like, flew through it. Just blew me away. Glad I read it. Like, can't wait to read it again. And I can see why... people in the who love Dune read it again because it has those qualities just for an amazing reread. I love the style of the book. I love that that third person omniscient. It was great. It was really, really good. So yeah, check out my review for Dune. I did a spoiler free and a spoiler review of Dune. I just loved it. It was so good. So Number one, let's get into it, guys. All right, here we are. Number one, my favorite book of the year. And it's kind of sad because there isn't a review on the channel for this yet. There will be, like, I will have a review eventually. It's going to be coming out in 2021. And that book, it's a Terry Pratchett book, and that is Going Postal. So this book was actually the first Discworld book I read. I picked it up at a thrift store, or I think it was a Value Village or whatever. Saw it, and I'm like, oh, this might be, maybe I'll start Discworld this year and try it. And I read this book, and it just like changed my view on books and changed my, not my life, that's just maybe cliche to say, but this is a perfect book for me. And maybe it's going to color my review. Like, this book is like a straight up 5 stars to me. There wasn't a part of this book that I didn't enjoy. Just loved every part of it. Loved this whole, you know, like scoundrel character who you're kind of rooting for, and he kind of becomes this culture hero in a sense, where he develops something that you know, would change the face of the Discworld a little bit. Just a great book. I loved every part of it. Loved even like the romance in it. Loved the villain. Loved what you see of like the patrician veterinary. Just it's so good. It's really a fantastic book. Going Postal, my favorite book of the year. Might even be one of my favorite books of all time. I'm gonna have to sit down and do that list. That's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be on there. It's gonna be on there for sure, but I just don't know where. But I loved it. My wife even read it. She enjoyed it, and she's not really into the absurdist, you know, comedic fantasy, but that got me started on the Discworld train. Haven't stopped, you know, plan to read all the Discworld and then, you know, go back and reread it in pub order. So, yeah, you know, I'm so glad I picked it. And it's one of those books too that even kind of like, you know, inspired me to start this channel, because, you know, you don't see many, there is Discworld booktubers out there, and I just, you know, this book changed my opinion of books and how I go about reading. So, yeah, so that's it. That's my top 10 list, guys. You know, I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed filming it and making it. It's really hard to sit down and look at your top 10 books of the year. So I'm gonna have some, you know, more videos coming out in this year. Like probably at the end of the year, I'm gonna have, you know, my least favorite books of 2021, and that was a hard list to do too. To pick books that I just, you know, that I either enjoyed or just didn't enjoy as much as these other books I read. And I'm also gonna talk about, you know, what are my goals for 2022, and what are the goals for the channel, and, you know, what am I gonna read, and hopefully you guys read along with me. So again, thank you guys so much. Thank you for sticking with me, and we'll see you in the new year. We'll see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.